popular policies like voter ID requirements would be banned unless states neutered them with loopholes. Meanwhile, unpopular and absurd practices like ballot harvesting, where paid political operatives can show up carrying stacks of other people's ballots, would not just be allowed, it would be mandatory. Washington would mandate that every state and county in America adopt same-day voter registration with minimal safeguards. But it would make it incredibly difficult for states and counties to conduct routine voter list maintenance, like removing dead people or voters who don't live there any longer. Then there's the whole question of political speech. Refereeing campaigns and policing speech are sensitive tasks. Appropriately, the FEC was designed after Watergate to be bipartisan, an even split, 3-3. So let me dwell on that for a minute. After Watergate, my party, the Republican Party, was just about wiped out. The overwhelming Democratic majorities could have done anything they wanted to. It never occurred to them that the Federal Election Commission, set up to police how we run campaigns, would be made a partisan entity. They could have done it then. Now we're in a 50-50 Senate and a narrowly majority in the House, and this audacious move wants to turn the judge of our democratic process into a partisan prosecutor? Talk about shame. If anybody ought to be feeling any shame around here, it's turning the FEC into a partisan prosecutor, the majority controlled by the president's party.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. What you just watched was Mitch McConnell being a disingenuous, creepy person on voter rights, because again, the Republicans know that the more people that vote, their policies are not popular, they will not win, and they are terrified of the Voting Act. And I have given you case after case on this channel of voter suppression laws, of Republicans literally saying things like they want quality voters, not quantity voters, and not everyone should be allowed to vote. Again, when I talk about that particular instance, they say ill-informed voters should not be allowed to vote. The entire Republican Party, that would not help their case. But they know that it is a disingenuous way to say that they don't want Democrats to vote. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about here. Mitch McConnell says that these laws are not trying to suppress voters. It's trying to ensure that there isn't fraud. So here's my question for Mitch McConnell. Show me mass voter fraud. Go. Show me where there is massive instances of voter fraud, and then explain to me how not allowing people to have water or hand out water at voting places, food and water, when they're waiting for 7 to 10 hours to vote, how that keeps fraud at bay. Tell me how same-day registration, something you can do with a gun but not votes, cuts down on fraud. Because again, if you can verify that someone can legally own a gun, you can verify in the same day that they can legally vote. Make it a provisional ballot. If you want to get technical about it, make it a provisional ballot. But they know that that's not the case. Again, they know that if everyone is allowed to vote, their policies are deeply unpopular and they will not be reelected, and they are terrified. He then goes on to say that this is a partisan thing and that the FTC was invented 3 and 3 to keep partisan stuff. Mitch McConnell is literally the king of playing partisan crap. If you look at his history as a Republican leader in the Senate, he's known as a Grim Reaper because he's killed more bills on the Senate floor than any lawmaker in history since I've been alive. Mitch McConnell gets his rocks off on obstructing and playing partisanship. It's literally his game. It's all he does. He's even trying to pick his successor because something tells me, as I've stated before, something is seriously wrong with Mitch McConnell's health, and I don't think he's going to make it much longer. Which, okay, sorry, dude. You reap what you sow. I'm not going to shed any tears. I'm not wishing you dead, but I'm definitely not going to shed any tears when you're no longer in this Senate. You creepy, grim reapering piece of crap. He knows. He absolutely knows that there's not mass voter fraud, that these bills do not protect that. He knows that gerrymandering heavily favors Republicans. He knows that same-day voter registration, where you can be verified as a United States citizen. Again, if you can legally buy a gun in a day, you should be able to legally register to vote within a day. Because, in Georgia, same day. They know. They just don't want you to vote. Go look at my video that talks about the archaic voting laws that are being pushed in Georgia. Then go watch my video on the Arizona Republican who fully admitted he doesn't want everyone to vote. Because at the end of the day, they're saying the quiet parts out loud. This is not about voter fraud. This is not about ensuring fair and safe elections. This is ensuring that the Republicans hold on to majority power without having the popular vote. Because, again, they know that their policies are vastly unpopular, and instead of getting better policies and working on things and actually trying to pass bills and not breaking Congress, they would rather just suppress votes. So, call your congressman, ensure that the Voting Rights Act gets passed. We do need it. It will get rid of a lot of these stupid laws that are keeping people from voting. And yes, absolutely, when states try to be racist and xenophobic and all sorts of other things, the federal government should step in. So when he says that Washington is trying to control elections, no, they're just trying to ensure that you don't bring us back to the Jim Crow era where you try to do means tests, where you try to do literacy tests, and you did everything you could to suppress minority voters. We remember those things. We remember. Mitch McConnell, you were very much alive during the Jim Crow era, and I'm kind of wondering if that's where you got the idea from. So, ew. And I will see you later.